Well, hello. It's another busy morning on the homestead. And this morning, I'm actually doing something that we should all be doing, regardless if you're a homesteader or not. If you have well water, you need to maintain your well. It is just not a pump it out of the ground and let it be. I always look back at Walkerton in Ontario in the year 2000 and the E. coli breakout, which was the municipal water. It wasn't even the well water. But the fact is, holy roosters! Sorry about that. So train of thought totally gone because the roosters are going nuts. The E. coli breakout in Walkerton was municipal water. It wasn't even well water. And it resulted in 2,300 people getting sick. And some of those have chronic illnesses now and things like liver damage, things that are going to affect their lives forever. And there was also 7 unfortunate deaths. This could have been preventable if things were maintained properly. This was municipal water. So now let's look at our well waters. We have a well. The water's great. Do you test it? You should test it at least twice a year. Prince, I'm busy. Puppy trying to see what's going on over here. You should test your well water at least twice a year, spring and fall. Now, we were really busy this spring and we didn't test it. And that is my fault. You should never be too busy to make sure your water is safe. I went and had the water tested because we had huge rainfalls in the last month and a half. And I thought, groundwater getting into the well, let's get a check and make sure it's good. Well, it came out with an overgrown of bacteria. And this happens. It's not that there's anything we've done wrong. Bacteria does overgrow in your wells. You do get chloroform. And why does this happen? Well, it's because groundwater seeps down into the well. And if you have neighbors or yourself that have cows or horses, the manure will have those bacteria that will seep into the wells more often and more likely. So getting them checked is a smart thing to do because it's not the end of the world. It's very easy to deal with. It's a simple maintenance. You don't have to get a well specialist in. Anybody can do this. Your local health authority will help you through the process. They have fact sheets, and I'm just going to show you my fact sheet for my region. I am going to say always refer to your own area because you may have different contaminants that affect your area. Like some people get a run on, what was it? It's iron bacteria. I never heard of that. I thought, well, you got iron in your water, your water's brown. But I didn't realize that there is an actual iron bacteria. And of course, I did a lot of my own research. You should do your own research always. Make sure you educate yourself with what you're using from the earth, from the plants. Water comes from the earth. So there's going to be things that you need to know. And don't take YouTube as your source. Don't take, social media as your source. Make sure that you reference several sources. Public health always has references, so that's a good place to start. And take a little bit more effort to learn what's going on. I did my research and I found out that when you get that slimy ring in your toilet, that could be actually rust bacteria. It could be an overgrowth of bacteria. So of course we need to look at these things. I'm going to be shocking my well today and showing you the process. This is not a how-to. I'm going to reiterate that. This is not a how-to. This is me doing my research, following the instructions, and taking care of my well. You do your own research and contact your health department if you need extra information. But it's nice to see somebody else go through the process so that at least you have a baseline of how things work and feeling comfortable that you can do this yourself. You're smart enough. You don't need to have a professional in to do this. you can deal with it and ensure that your well water is at its best. Now it's time to prepare. What we need to do is think about what we're going to need for the next 24 to 48 hours. Number one, drinking water. If you are in a situation where you have chloroform, E. coli, overgrowth bacteria, you probably should be boiling your water for at least 10 minutes and then cooling it to drink. The alternative, of course, is bottled water, but I am an anti-bottled water person, so I don't recommend that. But that's your choice. The other thing is you're going to need water to flush the toilets, cooking water, pet drinking water, animal drinking water. We collect rainwater for a lot of our animals, so we're good there. But for our dogs, we definitely have filled up a couple of pails of drinking water for them. Then you're going to go through the process of what uses water in your home, or where does the water pass through in your home. That's a better way to put it. We have a water softener, so I have put that water softener on bypass. We don't have any filtration systems, so we don't need to look at filters, but if you do, you should look at your filters and how to, if you're shocking your well, how to deal with the filters, because I do know that you would have to remove or something like that. I'm not going to give you instructions on that. Again, do your research. I shut off the heat, so basically I shut off the breaker to the hot water tank, and I filled up a bathtub with the hot water, which is basically going to be for toilet flushing and extra water that we may need, so that the water in the hot water tank will actually be cold water once we start the shocking process. And then what you're going to do is start with actually your well cover. And I'm going to take you over and show you the process as I do it. Remember, every home is different, and you have to think logically on how you're going to do this. Everything you're using should be meticulously clean. So the pail that I'm using to put water into the well, I have already washed with bleach and water, made sure it's disinfected. When I take my well cap off, I'm going to be placing it in a sterile container because I don't want bacteria to get back into the well during the process. So you have to be pretty much a surgeon with meticulously clean behavior. Like, you should treat it as if it's a surgical procedure because you don't want to introduce any bacteria that you're trying to get out of there. One thing I didn't mention is your clothes. Don't wear your best. Remember, you're going to be dealing with bleach. It will splatter possibly and ruin your clothes. So come on, you're on a homestead, you're probably not wearing fancy stuff anyway. I know I don't. What you're going to use is bleach. Doesn't matter what type of bleach. There is a 5% bleach, there's an 8%, which is the new high efficiency, what's it called? Concentrated formula. Just make sure it's unscented bleach. You do want to be able to nose scent the bleach, or you can use those chlorine strips that you use for your pool. I might actually try that for the first time this time because I'd seen a video on using that and how that helps, because you do go nose blind after a while of sniffing for the chlorine. So for my formula, and just grabbing this, I'm not going to tell you the formulas because I don't want to give you misinformation. I've calculated it for my well. I'm not even going to give you the amounts because I don't want to mislead anybody. But what you're going to do is you're going to figure out the depth of your well and at what level the water starts. So our well is 180 feet. The water starts at 98 feet. That gives us 82 feet of water. So when I'm doing my formula is I need to know how much bleach, chlorine, do I need for 82 feet of water. So I'm doing it in feet. Let me revert back to metric, which is what we are in Canada. My well is 54.8 meters. I have 30 meters to my water line. That gives me 25 meters of water. I round off, but I do keep my well information, and on the back I do my little formula, and I keep that so that I don't have to look at it every time. So I'm going to use the appropriate amount of bleach for my well casing size as well as the depth of water. Now I'm going to actually show you a photo here of what our guidelines are in our health region. Yours may be the same, they may not be, but at least this is a reference point for you. I am going to open up my well casing. We have our well very close to the house, which is great. You take off the security screws and lift off the cover. Now remember, you will have all your electrical for your pump, so be careful with that. I always take this section out that has all the marker connectors because I don't really want to be pouring on that. There we go. Just move things out a little bit. But I tell you, I will be disinfecting all these wires as well. I could pour the bleach directly into the well. I don't believe that's the best thing to do. I want to dilute it so that it actually coats the casing of the well as it's going down. And I know how much bleach I'm putting in, but like I said, I am not going to share the amount with you because I do not want you to base your well on my amounts. So I'm just gonna pour that in. I am trying to get the sides of the well so that I know that I'm disinfecting on the way down. Just put these wires in. Keep these out of the way because I want to keep going. Now, to mix up the water in the well, it needs to recirculate. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put the hose circulating. I'm trying to find the best. Holy jeez. Too many options. So I'm going to put my hose circulating. Let's do it a smarter way because that's just bullshit. There we go. I am going to put the water circulating, and because I want my hose not to take any contaminants in, I'm just bleaching the hose itself. This is what I mean about being smart about your cleanliness. So I'm going to put that hose in there. So what's happening right now is the water is going through my pump, through my reservoir, and it's circulating back into the well. And I am going to let this happen. It says do it for 10 minutes. I'm just going to let it go for a while. And my well casing, I am going to disinfect as well, because this is going to go back on and I want to make sure it's clean. You should have gloves on. I'm one of those old school people that never wears gloves, even though I really should be wearing gloves, and you should too. There we go. Now, if you were to smell this right now, it smells like clean water. Once it circulates enough, you will actually smell bleach coming out of the hose. You can't see me, can you? So there we go. So you will actually see a smell, the bleach coming out of the hose. Once you smell that, what we're gonna do is go through the house. And we're gonna start with the furthest tap first and open that up. Start with the hot water until you can smell bleach. Then the cold water until you can smell bleach. And go towards the closest to your pump. And that way you will have all your taps. The lines to those taps will have bleach water in them. That's when you shut everything down, leave it for 24 hours. Some people say 4 hours is enough. Trust me, if you're going through this type of work, our health department says 12 to 24. But if you're gonna go through all this work, why would you cut it short? It's like stupid. So what you do, leave it for at least 24 hours. And once you've gone through the 24-hour cycle, I will actually tell you what the next steps are. It's not hard. It's a lot of preparation, but your family and your health are worth it. One thing I didn't mention is the toilets. Flush every toilet once, or even twice. You wanna make sure that the tank is full with bleach water, and that will ensure that those lines are also clean. Remember, you shouldn't be putting bleach into your septic system, but flushing a toilet, it will not be enough to damage your system. The other taps we will be concerned with, so it is important that you watch this whole video so that you don't make the mistake of putting bleach into your septic bed. Okay, so this has been running for 15 minutes. I'm gonna actually try the pool. These are what we check our pool with. I'm gonna try to see how well this works, because normally I do the sniff test. So let's see if any chlorine is coming through yet. And you know what? It's white. There is no chlorine circulated through yet. I'm gonna do the sniff test. No, I cannot smell chlorine yet. So that recommended circulation for 15 minutes, not good. As I said, I'm gonna let it go for a while. I wanna make sure that it circulates well. And remember, I have a holding tank. So that holding tank, it needs to empty and refill for it to circulate. So let's check back in a little while. Let's give it another 15 minutes. Well, the other 15 minutes have gone by. Let's check it again. So it's been half an hour that the water has been circulating from the well, through the hose, back into the well, making sure that chlorine gets mixed in with the well water perfectly. So let's do that strip test again. That doesn't show anything, so I'm gonna try it maybe not with so much force coming out of the hose. I know these strips are good because I'm closing the pool at the same time, and I checked the chlorine levels there, so I know the strips are good. Let's put a little bit in my hand. Just a little bit more gentle. Nothing shows up. I could definitely smell chlorine. So this bullshit doesn't work. Sniff test, it works. The nose knows. So what I'm gonna do, shut off the water. I am going to cover my well. Let's just shut this off. There we go. There we go. So I'm going to cover the well because we don't want anything to get into it. Remember, we're trying to keep bacteria out. So the well cap has been sitting in this bucket, which was clean, disinfected. Notice I'm not touching the inside. Doing this backwards. There we go. It's capped. That way nothing can get into it. No animals, no dirt. These are all important things. We're gonna leave this alone until tomorrow. And once we have all the water cleaned, I will rinse off everything around here. However, now it's time to get inside and drain every tap until I smell bleach coming out of every single tap. Start with the furthest tap from your well and holding tank, because that way you're filling those lines instead of working backwards. And once I've done that, like I said, I'm going to leave it for at least 24 hours. This way we're going to get the best disinfection. And once I am cleaning out those taps of the bleach water, I'm actually going to give you a couple of tricks along the way. Well, it's the next morning, and it is a outhouse and no shower type of morning. We are going to get ready to get that well back in operation. But first, let's get out and feed those animals and get our day started. All right, so we're now ready to start draining all the lines. What I did is I hooked up the hose to the furthest bib from our holding tank. And the reason for that is you want to make sure that you're draining all the pipes as much as possible so that you get the bleach out of your system. This is going to take a little while. What I've done is I've taken the hose and I have it going onto the driveway. Reason being, you don't want to kill your grass. The other thing is put your animals indoors for now. We have our dogs inside because we don't want them drinking this water. It will go down the driveway and it'll just go into the ground. It's fine. You do not want to drain this into your septic system. Septic systems work off bacteria decomposing. The minute you throw the bleach in, you're killing that bacteria, your septic system stops working properly, and then you have other issues. So make sure you drain all that bleach in onto a gravel driveway, rock pit, not near your garden, not near your animals, and not on your lawn if you have a lawn. When I stop smelling bleach coming from the hose, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna see if you can see it down here. I'm just gonna water around here, even though there is grass here. This is where the well is. I'm going to water around here to let some of that bleach seep down around the well casing. Just a little bit of extra sanitation. I don't know if it helps that much, but that is what I do. The other thing is talking about when I store the water. I put, draining my hot water tank, I actually filled the bathtub with it. So that was what we bucket flushed the toilets with. I also just turned on the washing machine, like clothes washing machine, until I heard the water running in there, and then I shut it off just to fill that line right to the washing machine. Did the same thing with my dishwasher. Now the power is off to my hot water tank as well as my water softener. Wouldn't come to me. The water softener is on bypass. Now what I'm going to do is once this has flushed out, I will do a load of whites through my clothes washer. I will do an empty load for the dishwasher just to make sure that I'm cleaning any bleach out of the system. I will also regenerate my my water softener. Why is water softener not coming to me today? It's early, that's why. So I'm going to regenerate my water softener where the water flushes through it. What I'm going to do is consume a lot of water today and tomorrow so that I get the system totally flushed out. There will be no bleach residue. Do not test your water for at least 7 days after you've done this, because you want to get a true reading of what your water condition is. After 7 days, have the water tested. If it comes back with any bacteria or any chloroform, you need to do this process again. If you've never done this and you have an older well, you may have to do it a couple of times. Once you start doing it twice a year, you'll never have issues. And the best thing to do is maintenance. It's preventative rather than dealing with issues later. You don't ever want to be at a situation where any water you're consuming in your home has to be boiled for 10 minutes before you use it. That's a lot of work. This is just part of our maintenance of our home. And like I said, I'm going to be draining away, as you can see. When I no longer smell bleach, I am going to go to every tap in the house and I will have a bucket at that tap. I will drain it into the bucket and take it outside. I won't let it go down the drain into the septic bed. That's the trick I wanted to share. Don't empty out your taps into the septic bed. The only one you're actually doing is the toilet. You're going to flush that. It's not a huge amount. It's the same as having bleach in your laundry. Some people actually shop vac the water out of the tank to make sure zero bleach goes into their septic bank. The truth is, I do my whites with a little bit of bleach every once in a while. So that amount of bleach going into the septic bank is not going to ruin it. But I hope this information has helped you. If you like this type of content, please like our channel, share our channel, subscribe, get notified of when we have new videos. It's not just about cooking. It's not just about animal raising. It's about life on a homestead, and it's real life. I try to be as honest as possible and give you information on our goods, our bads, and maybe you can learn from our mistakes in the past and avoid them for yourself. Anyway, have a great day and live your best life.